Good morning and welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Tuesday. Glad you're here. Uh, if you caught my live stream yesterday from traffic, a little bit later start today. I've got an appointment this morning out of the office, so slept in a little bit. It was great. Although the dogs did wake me up. They got to do what they got to do, right? They got to go do dog stuff. So let's jump right in. These Red Mic messages are leadership and life lessons I've picked up from 15 They're leadership and life lessons I picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. And sometimes the tongue gets a little bit ahead of the brain there. Sorry about that. Today's Red Mike message. I've made no secret that I'm a big fan of The West Wing. I think they missed a huge opportunity. They could have continued the show. Supposedly, I heard that they wanted to continue the show initially with Alan Alda's character winning, and then try to write it from another perspective. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. And then when uh, the when Leo in both real life and in the show died, they pivoted and they let Santos win. And you know, anyway, but I love watching it. I've worked in politics, I've worked in government, I've worked in nonprofits, and politics aside, there's a lot you can pick up from it. Uh, a lot of people make fun of the walk and talk scenes, but it's an action scene, but there's a lot of dialogue happening there that would be boring if they were just sitting in a room. So what do? You get them moving, right? Well, there was another scene where you got to learn a lot about Toby and how his brain works. He got sent to try to negotiate a, a public protest. A bunch of people complaining about free trade, shades of the WTO, and all of that. And basically, he went in there and put his feet up on a desk. Cop was making fun of him, and he was like, "They're not ready to talk yet." And he said, and then he basically did a lesson on communications. And I was a speechwriter at the time, and I knew some of these tricks, and I'd use some of them. And, you know, uh, he talked about the art of repetition. You get people into a rhythm. I wrote a speech one time where my boss was saying, "I love the tax holiday. It's one chance for families to use their dollars for their priorities on their family. And it was there, and it's bum, 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 got a rhythm. Um, I referred to it as a triplet. The real term is called anaphora. It's actually a Greek term. By repeating something over and over and over, quite often in a series of three, you get people to pay attention. People hear the same thing over and over and over again. It's better to use it early in a speech or later in a speech. You don't want to bog up the middle. The middle's the meat, right? The anaphora, the repetition, that's the bun. It's the outside. It's the donut, right? And then the question is, what's in the middle of that donut? Is it a donut hole, or is it, cream filling? You got to figure out how you're going to do that. So realistically, one of the best uses of anaphora in either political history or even just American history was Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech. I mean, he had 7 or 8 lines in a row where it's "I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream." And every time he said it, you're like, "Oh, here's the payoff pitch. We're gonna get to the end of what he's saying here." And I have a dream about this. I have a dream about that. And it's building to a point through repetition. Anaphora. Use it. It can be really helpful. Toby referred to floating opposites. You know, again, there's a technical term for it. It's called chiasmus, right? He said using words like lowers and raises in the same sentence. It gets people, okay, it's up and down, you know, it's right and left, it's black and white. Uh, it it's a literary device that forces people to, in their head at least, do the comparison and contrasting of those ideas while you're saying them. Okay. Oh, he said something, those things are opposites. You know, John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Again, opposites. Don't do this, do this, right? And then end with something that's not like the others. Toby's example was pretty straightforward. It was like free trade ends wars, you know, because he was talking business, 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 business. Oh, free trade ends wars. Well, what do wars have to do with business? Well, then he explains it. Be careful using these tools. You don't want to become over reliant on them. And, sorry. And you want to make sure that when you do use them, they don't become trite or staid or boring in any kind of way. And you're not just throwing them out there to try to be cutesy or something. Have a point. Make it something easy to remember if you're going to use, you know, the end with something that's not like the others, right? Something off the top of business, something that's completely unthought of. It's not top of mind. It's not what people are thinking you're going to say. You know, for example, life is short. Drink the bourbon. Okay, I end every red mic with that. Bourbon and business, yeah, it used to mix. You know, Lou Grant always had a bottle in his desk, but you know what? They don't. That just doesn't happen anymore. We've moved beyond that. So throwing it out there, you're like, you know, the first couple of times you heard it, I'm sure you were like, well, what's he talking about? And that's why I went back and I explained it. So whether it's for a speech, whether it's for a public engagement, whether it's just to make points in small groups, try to throw these tools in there. Again, anaphora, repetition, chiasmus, floating opposites, and then ending with something that's not like the others. Pepper your speeches, pepper your conversations, pepper your public presentations with these, and I know that you're going to end up having more success. People are going to pay more attention to what you're saying, and they're going to walk away remembering more of what you say, too. And really, that's the point, right? That's today's Red Mike message. I hope you find it helpful. I hope you found it interesting. I appreciate you being here. I would very much like that you give me a like, a share, and a follow. The share is really important. Please offer me some comments down below. I appreciate you. I really do. And once again, remember, life is short. Drink the bourbon. Y'all have a good day.